Good evening, Americans, and welcome to The Ed Show. President Obama is on a roll. American jobs are roaring back. And wouldn't you know, Republicans, they don't have anything to do with it. This is The Ed Show. I got a lot to say tonight. Let's get to work.
The economy is growing stronger. The recovery is speeding up.
Good news for the country means bad news for Republicans.
And while the unemployment rate is down slightly, the American people are still asking the question, where are the jobs?
We'll go inside the numbers and the politics with Ezra Klein and Robert Reich.
Good to have you with us tonight, folks. Thanks for watching. And I want to tell you off the top, there's some things happening in Wisconsin we'll get to later on in the show. All right, first tonight, we show this chart a lot. I love charts. It really tells a story, gives you a snapshot, and it tells you what the trend is. We show it a lot because the private sector job growth under President Obama and President Bush tell a completely different story. Now, you may notice something different about it tonight. There is, yet another blue bar there at the end of the chart. You see, January was the 23rd consecutive month of private sector job growth. This is where it went. It started right here after the stimulus package, and for 23 straight months, what have we seen? Private sector job growth. The job force added 243,000 jobs in the month of January. Unemployment dropped to 8.3%. May I tell you that this is the lowest unemployment number since President Obama's first month in office? Now, I'm just asking. I haven't given any commentary yet. Is this good news? These are all facts now. These are hard numbers. Numbers put out by the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Manufacturing. We got another good piece of news for you. 50,000 jobs were added in January. 50,000 jobs. I want to go on record, point out to you tonight that today, when the Republicans on Capitol Hill responded to these numbers that were coming out, nowhere, and we've checked the script twice, nowhere did they say anything about manufacturing. Nowhere did they say anything about 50,000 jobs being created. Why? Well, heck, President Obama talked about it in the State of the Union. They can't give him any backup. That's the highest monthly gain in manufacturing jobs since August of 1998. This is good news for America, isn't it? Good news for America is usually translating to good news on Wall Street. Well, how about this? The Dow closed at its highest level since May of 2008. Look at that, 12,862.23. That is a dandy of a number. President Obama sees the economy on the rebound, and he should. Today he told Congress, don't mess it up.
The recovery is speeding up. And we've got to do everything in our power to keep it going. So I want to send a clear message to Congress. Do not slow down the recovery that we're on. Don't muck it up. Keep it moving in the right direction.
Keep it moving in the right direction. The recovery is happening. Just think about this. There are 243,000 families that didn't have this happen to them in December. I wonder what kind of Christmas and holiday they had. Wonder what kind of New Year they had. Well, in January of 2012, they got a job. Isn't that great? Republicans in Congress can't take credit for it because they've done everything they can to obstruct economic progress for the past 3 years. They want President Obama's policies to fail so that they can win in November and he will lose. His policies, well, they're succeeding. And the only thing Republicans can do is pretend that the good economic news, well, it just doesn't exist.
The president's policies have failed. They're holding back this economic recovery.
Again, the president's policies have failed. It's one of the reasons that, regrettably, we see the politics of division and envy. But the American people don't want a division and envy. They want more jobs.
What I'm suggesting to you today is that we can do better. The American people are still asking a question. Where are the jobs?
Do they just wake up every morning and wonder what negative thing they can say today about America? I mean, the Republicans as of late are starting to sound like Baghdad Bob. I mean, they're in total denial of numbers that are put up on the board, and they can't say, doggone it, we are going in the right direction. This is good for America. This is good for 243,000 families out there, and we can do more. But they just can't do it. It's not in their DNA. There are more jobs in America today than at any point in the last 3 years. Boehner couldn't bring himself to saying that. He does bring himself to saying that that's just not good enough.
There's certainly some positive news here. But the point we're making is that we could do a lot better. If the president would work with us on the bills that have passed the House that are awaiting action in the Senate, the American economy could do better.
Yeah, really? Is that a fact? Those bills passed? How about the ones you all obstructed? This is going to be the standard Republican talking point from now until the election. We can do better. Well, Mitt Romney, he got the memo. He said in a statement today, unfortunately, these numbers cannot hide the fact that President Obama's policies have prevented a true economic recovery. We can do better. But even Newt Gingrich was forced to admit that we are doing better.
I think he will get some limited credit, and it depends on how much the economy recovers and what the rest of the year looks like.
But you don't think, as of now, he deserves any credit? Is that what you're saying?
No, it's irrelevant. Give him some credit. If it makes you happy, give him some credit.
It's irrelevant that 243,000 people got a job last month, and all they do is throw at us, you can't raise taxes on the job creators. Guess what? Let's take a look at the corporate boys here. Look at the corporate taxes last year. You know what they did? They amounted to just over 12% of profit for U.S. corporations. My friends, this is the lowest level in 40 years. The Republicans ought to be just dancing in the street over this. Unemployment is down. Private sector job growth is growing. Public sector jobs are going down. That's what they really want. Corporate taxes are at record lows. Republicans, you ought to be loving this stuff. But they can't say anything positive about the President of the United States. They can only root for the economy to fail. It's really kind of sad, isn't it? And you know what? We're going to get some positive numbers next month. And this number right here is probably going to be the same proportionately for the whole year. Why? Because President Obama has not raised your taxes. In fact, he went along with the Bush tax cuts, didn't he? And some Democrats did it too. Just team up for once, will you? Can't do it. It's election year. Get your cell phones out. Want to know what you think. Tonight's question, will Republicans ever give President Obama the credit he deserves for the economy? Text A for yes, text B for no to 622-639. And you can always go to our blog at ed.msnbc.com. We got the results coming up later on in the show. I'm joined tonight by Robert Reich, former Secretary of Labor on the Clinton administration and now a professor at UC Berkeley and author of the book Aftershock. Actually, the Republicans are shocked at these numbers, are they not, Mr. Reich? How much longer can the Republicans get away with just taking good economic news and spinning it negatively? What do you think?
Well, they're going to try to do it, Ed, and they're going to continue to try to do it right up through Election Day. Look, 8.3% unemployment in an ordinary economy, I mean, an economy that was not through what we just went through, would be pretty bad. But the trend, and the important thing is the trend is in the right direction, and this is going to be tremendously helpful to President Obama. At the same time, though, it could go, because these numbers are variable, could go a little bit up in another month. I think the Republicans are more likely now to sign up for and vote for an extension of unemployment benefits and also for an extension of the payroll tax cut because they don't want to be blamed if the economy just 1 month, maybe in February or March, doesn't do quite as well as it's been doing. They are setting themselves up right now to be blamed if the economy doesn't continue this trend. They don't want that.
Robert, what about manufacturing? 50,000 jobs, the highest number in a single month since 1998. Is this a trend, do you think? And this is exactly what the president talked about in the State of the Union address. What do you make of it?
Well, look, it's great news. Manufacturing jobs in general tend to be better jobs than service jobs. They also are linked to all kinds of other jobs. We need strong manufacturing base in this country. But the long-term trend, I mean, quite apart from what we're seeing over the past 6 months, long-term trend is that more and more manufacturing is getting automated. Look inside a big factory today, and you see robots, and you see computerized machine tools. So that's not where a lot of our long-term strength is going to be. Nevertheless, it is enormously helpful. It is positive. It's in the right direction. It's good news.
What do the Democrats with the president need to do? We all know that the Republicans, I hope they come along, but they have, of course, been obstructionists throughout it all. What do you think the president and the Democrats need to do right now? What's the best play moving forward?
Well, besides the extension of the payroll tax cut and also extending unemployment benefits, both terribly important. And one thing we did learn today, Ed, is that the long-term unemployed as a percentage of the total unemployed keep on rising. That is, more and more people who are unemployed for more than 6 months. They do need extended unemployment benefits, and if they get it, they can turn around and buy stuff and keep other people employed. So it makes a lot of sense. So they have to, the Democrats have continue to push for this. I think the Democrats ought to also say no budget cuts until unemployment drops down to 5%. That's our trigger. And that essentially means we are not going to sit back and allow deficit cutting to take precedence over job creation until we get the unemployment rate down to what it should be, until it's down to what is essentially near full employment.
Robert Reich, always a pleasure. Great to have you with us on this Friday evening. Thanks for your time. Now let's turn to Ezra Klein, MSNBC policy analyst and columnist for the Washington Post. Ezra, you wrote today that these are good numbers. What stands out the most to you?
Actually, that there's nothing bad in them. Almost every month, Ed, we've had some gloomy cloud in the numbers. So take December, pretty good month, 200,000 jobs, but 45,000 of them were messengers and couriers. So that looked like seasonal employment. That looked like employment for Christmas, people scurrying gifts around, that type of thing. There was nothing bad here. One thing we haven't mentioned yet, revisions. We went back into the last couple of months and said, oh, actually, November, we added 55,000 more jobs than we originally thought. In December, we added 3,000 more jobs than we originally thought. You talked about the manufacturing jobs, the other big winners this month, 70,000 jobs in professional and business services, another 35,000 in healthcare. This was a good number through and through. It's really, as I said in the Post today, it was a recovery jobs number, not just an okay number. And so is it a problem that we keep losing public sector jobs? I mean, we've seen these radical governors across America attacking firefighters, police officers, and teachers. Their war on public education is just almost unprecedented in American history. Figure that in. If we had gone full bore on the stimulus package with all of these governors not fighting it, who knows what the numbers would be? Yeah, it's not helping. So the number of public sector jobs we have lost in the last year is about 270,000. So if you had not lost those jobs, it would have been like adding another month in which we had more job creation than this month. So that would be big. It would bring unemployment down by another 0.2, 0.3, 0.4%. It wouldn't be nothing. On the other hand, it's not at this point that big of a drag. The full number this month was 257 in the private sector. We lost 13,000 public sector jobs. What is most galling about it isn't that it's so big, but that it is so needless. Of all the things government can do, the one thing it can certainly ensure is that it does not fire anybody. But we have chosen to not take that route. Good news all around. Ezra Klein, good to have you with us tonight. Thanks so much. Remember to answer tonight's question there at the bottom of the screen. Share your thoughts on Twitter at Ed Show. We want to know what you think.